Hello, welcome to episode number 7 of Let's Talk. We're joined today by Grace. Grace, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad, Matt.
I believe you're a wee bit sick this week, though.
Yeah, a wee bit, but I'm here.
She's battled through, and here she is, just for you. Hope you appreciate it.
You better.
Our topic for episode 7 is friendship. So Grace, let's explore this a little bit for the next little while. Friendship's something that we all want to have, we all crave, but we're kind of exploring different areas of friendship. I want to ask you this question. What ways do you think we can misuse our friends without realising that we're even doing it?
Yeah, so there's quite a few that can come up. Envy. We can envy what our friends have, wishing we had the clothes that they have, the brands, the designer, wishing maybe even more a bit extreme, their family life, the way that their family operate, their routine. That's a wee bit obsessive, but that's how far envy can go. So there's the idea of jealousy. We can judge our friends, that's misusing it, just to make ourselves feel better, so we know if we're really close with somebody, have a really deep friendship with them, we know probably every deepest, darkest secret, and we can judge them maybe in the back of our minds. We're like, at least I'm not as bad as them, sort of idea. So it's to try and make ourselves feel better, and that's totally misusing a friendship. And another one can be making it very one-sided, a very one-sided friendship. So maybe one of you, or whoever, isn't putting in the effort. So it's all very like one friend that wants to meet up all the time. Are you free? Can we hang out this day? Sort of idea. And the other one's kind of like a bit hesitant towards it, isn't really putting in the effort, and isn't really showing interest in that person. So it can become very one-sided. So those are ways that can be very misusing.
It's really helpful, yeah. And there's, I suppose, that one that sticks out to me is we can so often use our friends, as you said there, to make ourselves feel better. I suppose it expresses itself in a whole lot of ways. Even like taking a selfie with your friends. You always take like 10 of them, and as you're picking them, what's the criteria that you choose as to which one you pick? You kind of pick the one that you look best in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah. And then you might do a wee caption, I love my friends.
I love my friends.
We're going to go on, well, actually, I've just used my friends to make me look good. I read a really interesting study, or it was a piece of research that was done in a university, and they asked like 10 different students this question. There was 100 students. They asked, would you rather that you finish your degree and you all got firsts, you and all your friends got firsts, or you got a 2-1 and all your friends got 2-2s? And something like 70% of them chose for themselves to get 2-1s and for their friends to get 2-2s, as opposed to all of them getting firsts, which I thought was crazy. And just shows you how big a role envy actually plays, even in our friendships. Yeah. So that's really helpful. Obviously, we're speaking from a Christian perspective, and we believe that our relationship with God affects everything. How do you think that our relationship with God affects our friendships?
Yeah, so God is the greatest example of being a true friend in Jesus. And the reason that we can love our friends is because he first loved us, and we see that in 1 John chapter 4 verse 19. We love because he first loved us. A friendship functioning as God intended is a beautiful thing, because it's making it all about God rather than one another, because then we fall into that trap of making it about ourselves, becoming very vain in our friendships, whereas when it's a healthy Christian friendship, it's all about glorifying God and making it about him, and it's working together in a friendship to glorify him, which is just a beautiful thing, because that's how God intended friendship, to have a mindset of Christ, which is to focus on God and working and serving him together. So yeah, that's a big one, and we are to think like Christ in our friendships. Christ again is the best example of friendship. I'm trying to remember what the verse it is, but dying for a friend, that's like the greatest example of love, and that's what Jesus did for us. He died for us, which is the greatest example of all, and it's important to think like that. I know in our heads we think, but we'll never be like Christ because we're not perfect. But it's important to keep that in the back of our minds, that we are to strive to be like Christ. We are to think like him, and that's how Christ would have thought. To put God first in all of his relationships, even with his disciples, his closest friends. He was always thinking about God first, not them. he was thinking about God. How would each friendship, how would each day serve and love God and glorify Him? So that's how we're to think. And as we find all that we need in God, we are free to truly love our friends and not use them to meet our needs, because we found all that we need in God, which again I think is a very important thing.
That's really helpful. So that idea that if we find our true validation in a right relationship with God, it liberates us from needing to use our friends to feel approval and not misuse our friends. It's helpful. And of course, Jesus' model was really countercultural, wasn't it? Because he doesn't just, he doesn't use his friends to make himself look good. He actually doesn't just lay his life down for his friends. He lays his life down for his enemies, which is amazing. It's brilliant. Exactly. What do you think would be the true tests then of friendship?
Yeah, so the saying is true. True friends are hard to find, definitely. Some friendships are fleeting, some are long-lasting, but true friendships are glued together with a bond of loyalty and commitment. So that's what forms a really good, healthy friendship, is loyalty and commitment to one another, and also that mindset of God being the centre of the friendship, and also remaining intact with one another, so staying in contact despite changing circumstances, whatever that might be, negative, positive, whatever it is, that there's somebody there who's committed to you, who's loyal to you. So yeah, that's a big one. And in Proverbs chapter 17 verse 17, which is kind of easy to remember, but it's a very powerful message. A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need. And I think it's important to remember that God provides these people for us. God provides those friendships for us. He provides people that are loyal to you in a time of need. And I think that's really encouraging, especially just with my own life, that there's people that God provided for me to help me through whatever time, a good time, a bad time, but I think also it's important not to be selfish when thinking like that, but we are also called to be that friend for somebody else. We are called to be loyal and committed and to serve others as well. So it's important not to think selfishly on those things, definitely. So
great. When we think about friendships, obviously you might have different types of friendships. You might have Christian friends who you go to, non-Christian friends who you go to. Break them down for us. Why is friendship important in both those realms, with Christian and non-Christian? Yeah,
so one that's really, really important about friendships is accountability. It's a very big thing that comes up for Christian friendships, which is accountability, and I feel like we can maybe really shy away from this because nobody likes to be told that they're wrong. I mean, let's be honest, nobody likes that, but it's important to have those true friendships that will gracefully tell you, look, Grace, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not good, what you're doing. It's important to have that, and yes, it's important to do it gracefully, because the last thing you want to be doing is me coming in and being like, Matthew, you can't be doing that. That's
you tell me that every day.
I know. But you need to be very graceful about it. And yes, it's serious, so do take it seriously. But you need to be very understanding. And what the whole point is, they're wanting to make you better. They're wanting to make you closer to God. That's why Christian friendships are so important to have. They're such a treasure, because when we cling to Christian friendships, they make us focus to Christ. That's so important. Now, in saying that does not mean that us having non-Christian friends is bad, because they are just as much value. They are just as important. But we should be making a priority of making sure that we have appropriate accountability, because I don't know if you've definitely heard of the saying, it's easier for someone to pull you off the table than for you to pull someone up onto the table. And that's exactly the same in this situation of friendship. We have our non-Christian friends, and we always are like, I can pull you up onto the table of becoming a Christian, but actually it's much harder than you think. It's easier for them to pull you down. But I'm not saying that you can't have non-Christian friends, because they are just as important. They teach you so much. Yes, it's a little harder to stand firm in your faith, but it's good to have those friendships and stand firm for Christ and show them Jesus.
Mm.
You know, so yeah.
Brilliant. It's really helpful. We obviously live in a social media age, don't we?
Yeah.
Where the idea of friendship is perhaps a little bit affected or tainted. Walk us through how social media does affect our kind of view of friendship.
Yeah, so we were kind of touched on this already, eating into my examples. But an example, a really good one that Matt was sharing was, you know, posting a photo of a group of friends, but you're posting the photo that you believe that you look the best in, and then capturing it. I love my friends. Well, actually, no, you love yourself. And you weren't really thinking about your friends at all. You were thinking about yourself. Now, we're all guilty of that. So that is a big one. You know, it's actually you're loving yourself behind your friends. You know, look at my friends, but actually look at me. You know, it's kind of that idea. You know, picturing a healthy friendship when maybe they're not actually healthy at all. Another one is you can also fall into jealousy of other friendships online. So, you know, you're scrolling at home on the good old Facebook or whatever, Instagram, and you see another friendship, and you're kind of like, oh, I wish we did that. Oh, why can't we do that? You know, you actually find yourself being jealous of other friendships and not grateful for the ones that you have. That can sometimes creep up, and it's important to remember that no friendship is perfect. Social media can paint this picture of, well, actually, we have the perfect friendship of all time. Well, actually, no, you don't, because lo and behold, both of you are sinners, and that's a fact. So naturally, you're not perfect. So putting two non-things perfect together isn't going to make something perfect. You know, one of you are bound to mess up in life or whatever, but that's why it's important to be there for each other. So that's important to remember. The reality is no friendship is perfect. Another one that kind of is interesting, it wouldn't be maybe as popular, but it definitely can creep up, is you're in a situation, okay, and you're like, oh, there's a really popular girl, or oh, there's a really popular boy. If I go and I get a picture with them, oh, that'll boost up my reputation. So you take a selfie with them, post it online, you're like, oh, look who I'm hanging out with. And you think, oh, look at all the followers or likes I'm going to get. You know, that can really be effective, you know, because then you're thinking, oh, yes, I'm in with the cool crowd now, so I can do what I want, I can be who I want, or whatever. You know, that's not real, that's not a real friendship. You've literally just taken a photo with somebody. So that can creep up. Might not be as popular, but it still can happen. So those are negative things. Another one can be having a bit of a fallout with a friend. Very minor, but you're just so riled up about it, and you're like, I'm going to take this to Twitter or whatever social media platform, and you say something that you completely regret, and basically you've damaged a friendship that didn't need to be damaged in the first place. And when you could have resolved it before going online, and now you've affected a friendship that didn't need to be affected in the first place. So yeah, that can be a really big one, taking it to social media and then regretting it completely. So
yeah, those are all interesting. And I suppose even the very premise of social media, where you're told that you've got, I don't know, on Facebook, you've got 500 friends, and it kind of dilutes what true friendship is, doesn't it? It kind of, everyone's your friend, but actually when really out of those 500, maybe 3 of them are your friends.
Yeah.
And so I suppose it's important to have that kind of inner core of people that we have those real friendships that we really treasure and invest in.
Yeah.
How should friendship then kind of mutually build each person up? We've kind of talked a little bit about using our friends, which is a tendency to fall into. How should we mutually build each other up in our friendships?
Yeah, so a very big one is be supportive, be a supportive friend. Like I said, we're all not perfect people, so we're all bound to mess up at some point in our life, and we probably have already, definitely. So it's important to be a supportive friend, being there for someone in the good times and also the bad times, you know, making them realise that there is so much more to life. You know, you're created by God. You have purpose. It's important to be there and be that encouragement, which is also the second bit that I'm coming to. Be encouraging. You know, some people can start the day off quite negative, you know, or whatever, feeling quite sad. Maybe they just need a little bit of encouragement. So just send a text to your friend or your mate and be like, hey, I was thinking of you today, praying for you. Just something so simple, but I don't know about you, but when you get a message like that someone's actually thinking about you, it really can boost your mood completely and make you so much more happy. So, be that encouragement, be that friend that, shows that, I care about you, sort of idea. So that builds people up completely. And it actually then can affect your faith. It can help you grow in your faith. If you send a little encouragement, a verse of the day or something, that can actually get your friend to go to the Bible and be like, oh, where'd you get that from? Gets them stuck into the Bible, which is just brilliant. Another thing as well, to help growing in faith is, meet up regularly. Did he? Meet up.
Is that a light bulb in your
head?
That
was literally what that was. I was like, don't forget to say this. Meeting up regularly, to look at God's word together. Do a little study together. Now, we're not talking like a 2-hour thing, it doesn't have to be that long, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, just looking at God's word together can be so beneficial. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24-5, it reads this: "And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage one another." It's such a simple verse, but so powerful, that how can I spur my friend on? How can I point them towards God? To do good things. Be accountable for them. Meet up with them. I need to do that because it's important and it's encouraging to me and for them. It's so important to hold one another accountable. So yeah, that's a good verse to take away from that wee bit. So,
super. Finally then, Grace, unfortunately fallouts do happen.
Yes.
Among friends. How do you deal with fallouts between friends? How should you handle those things?
Yeah, so having a fallout, it's bound to happen, even with your closest friends, the ones you're like, oh, I could never fall out with them. We're all human, we all mess up, we all get angry and things happen and get blown out of proportion. Whether it be small or big, it happens. If you wronged them or they wronged you, you both are sinners. That's a fact. You both are bound to mess up. So forgiveness is what we're called to do as Christians. We are called to forgive as God forgave us. I know it's very hard to maybe kind of grasp that, really understand it, because I've believed that, the doctrine of forgiveness, the doctrine of grace is so hard to understand. They're like, how can I do that? They've completely wronged me. Well, actually, if you think about it, what Jesus did for you and actually what you did to him, you sinned against him, you've rebelled against him, you didn't believe in him at all, but actually he died for you. He lived the perfect life that you couldn't, and he died for you, and he rose again, defeating death. That's not a little thing, that's a big thing, and that is the biggest act of love that one can do. And like you said earlier, Matt, he didn't just do it for his friends, he did it for his enemies. And again, I know that's really hard to be like, but how am I to do that for the person that hates me or whatever? Well, actually, we're supposed to have the mindset of Christ in all our relationships, and that's what Christ would do, so we are to do that too, which I know is very, very hard to understand. But another thing is pray about it. God can give you the strength to handle the situation, and pray for that person. Pray for your friend that you're having that fallout with. Pray that they would, I don't know, it's kind of a hard one, but just pray for the situation at hand, and pray for yourself that you would be able to handle it in a God-pleasing way. Definitely. So yeah, I know it's a very tricky one, but forgiveness and prayer are definitely the two keys in that. And if you really are struggling to forgive this person, pray that God would give you the strength to forgive them. Forgive and forget. That's the best way to put it. I know it's hard to forget, but that's what Jesus would do. So
great. Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. A really important topic of friendship. So hope you find this episode helpful. Episode number 7. Grace going through the war and doing this when you're sick. So hopefully I haven't caught anything during this episode.
Sorry.
If I have, there's video footage that it was you that gave it to me. But hope you have a great week. Make sure you join us in 2 Mondays' time for episode number 8. See you then.
See you then.